Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello, people, and welcome. Pedro Neto is done to Chelsea. David Ornstein tweeted, Pedro Neto to Chelsea. They got the winger they wanted. Finally, Chelsea are signing a ready-made players. A lot of people are texting, tweeting. They want to banter Chelsea, but Chelsea got a deal, got a player that everybody wanted. Everyone wanted Pedro Neto, and when Chelsea got him, everyone doesn't like the player. They're going to talk about the injury prone. Zubimendi says yes to Liverpool, but the deal is not done yet. They are trying to convince the club or something, or the club, Real Sociedad, are trying to convince Zubimendi to stay. If that deal doesn't happen, it will be Jude, Lavia, Caicedo, and Zubimendi within 1 or 2 years. And that would be absolutely horrendous for Liverpool, while Chelsea are getting their deals done. Moreno basically is an Arsenal player. He didn't even play the games. He's actually an Arsenal player. They're just structuring the deal. So Arsenal are getting their midfielder. Who's getting the best signing? And also we'll talk about Manchester City versus Manchester United Community Shield. That's why we have Michael Griggs here to back his club, to say that he's going to win another trophy, of course. But listen, people, hit that like button. We already got 500 people here on the show. We're going to talk about all of it. Chelsea are moving mad now with this signing. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I got the whole crew, and that was for the first time in a while, because the season is about to start. I am just a happy man to see all these faces with me on the stream, because these guys are legend. This show is one of my favorite shows on YouTube in general.
Only
when
one
I have
host,
other guys, I just can't say that, because I have other guys. Well, Dio, Shaz, the other guys will actually. It's a fantastic show. Oh, for fuck's sake.
That's all I'm hearing. That's all I'm hearing.
I see how it is. I see how it is. Maybe I just won't turn up on time next time.
Yeah, maybe I'll leave now.
Oh, by the way, I gotta give it. Tom was here 5 minutes early. 5 minutes. I joined 5 minutes early. Tom is here, waiting, ready, professional.
Stalker.
And also, guys, by the way, Dan has a Inter shirt behind him, so I gotta back Chelsea. This show, I have to back Chelsea. Me and Dan are together on this show. But listen, before we go on, let's get to 500 likes. And also,
Can I say something? Can I buy your support for my club? Can I buy your support for my club?
You don't need to. You have. Oh, that's a 2010. That's even better.
That's unreal.
That's even better. Oh my God! Oh one of my favorite players of the treble-winning team, Diego Milito. But listen,
I should have bought your support for this stream.
Before we go on, there is one more thing, guys. Rory's channel is in the description. He is very consistent on his channel. It's one click away from your subscription. If you haven't subscribed to Rory, you've been living under the rock. Absolutely magnificent content daily, right? Nobbins as well releases amazing tactical videos on his streams, on his channel, YouTube channel. It's just one click away. You don't have to write. You don't have to do anything. You just click on the link that is there. It says Nobbins. It says Rory. It says Griggs. Michael Griggs talk about United, also does a lot of work. And Dan, who promised me to do daily shows. Me and Dan spoke about this. Who promised me to do daily shows and do watch-alongs on his channel? His channel's in the description. We need to get Dan to 10K, guys. That is your support. And Tom Little, who is, I'm not going to shout him because he slacks a lot on his channel. Even
Blame
though
my
he does streams
for doing no business. I said, and I made a promise, when Liverpool sign a player, I will return to streaming. Blame them. They just don't. Michael Edwards mustn't be a fan. What can I say? Richard Hughes isn't a subscriber to the Tom Little channel. What can I do about it?
Let's start. Talk to me, Dan. Pedro Neto. Talk to me.
I cannot believe that we've actually done a deal. And you know what? This one's hitting like old transfers used to. No one knew about this. This exclusive for, I think it was Fabrice Hawkins broke the news, has come out of nowhere. So unbelievable. I love it when transfers hit like this. This is how they should hit. This is how they used to hit. But obviously, since Ornstein and all the journalists coming up and Fabrizio now the tap-in king of transfers, we've kind of lost that buzz. So for me, this is unreal. All the other signings we've had this summer have obviously been decoy signings whilst we've been working on this in the background. Todd Bowley and Clear Lake said very early on, there will be 2 teams set up and 2 finances set up, or 2 financial structures and budgets set up for different types of signings. And that obviously shows that this is what it is. But yeah, this is unreal. An unreal piece of business from Chelsea, I think. I think he's bang on market value as well. I think it's one of the first deals I can remember Clear Lake not getting absolutely like having their pants pulled down, to put it politely.
How much is the fee? Is it 60 million? Did we say?
Around that? Yeah,
euros as well.
Yeah,
that's cheap. Then I feel like
I think it's pretty good. But like Rory's already alluded to. Just in the behind the scenes, there's an injury problem here that we probably should discuss as well.
60 million euros.
Calling it a problem is underselling it. Calling it a problem is underselling it.
When his hamstring goes on the opening game of the season and then you never see him play for Chelsea again, 60 million euros might not look as good. But
do you know how many games on average Pedro Neto misses a season for club and country? 34.
I reckon 1,000. What?
He misses on average 34 games a season. If let's say for whatever reason Chelsea get knocked out of cup competitions at the earliest possible opportunity, Chelsea have about 40 games to play in a season if they were to go out of every competition at the earliest 42 actually, because you got Europa Conference League. Pedro Neto could miss all but 8 of them if he has another injury season like he has averaged throughout his career. If you can keep him fit. If this 63 million euros includes new hamstrings, it's one of the signs of the window. 100. He's that good when he's fit. He's one of the most exciting wings in the world when he's fit. But if Chelsea's problems for the last couple of seasons have been their best players have been injury prone and they never get to see their best team on the pitch, I don't see how adding one of the most notoriously injury prone players helps that. apart from the 8
Do you think
games
Chelsea
season where
are? Do you
everyone
think
plays
Chelsea
together.
medical? Why is everyone assuming that Chelsea medical team are just stupid, are idiots?
I think
We've
injury
watched them.
history and the amount of players and for how long they've been out and the repeat of injuries. would
No,
suggest
but you do the
might
medical,
be-
you do the medical examination.
They've all
These
been
people
sacked.
know
I know that
how
much.
bad. If the hamstring is not great, they will know in the medical.
No, because
They're not
they
idiots.
will, but Reece James's hamstrings aren't great, and it took 4 times of him returning.
But they
before
don't
he
want
had
to sell
an
it. But they know his hamstrings are weak.
Yeah,
I think it's a
you know what?
fantastic signing. If he passes the medical, I absolutely think he takes Chelsea levels. This guy on the left, Cole Palmer on the right, and Kunku up top. Unless you go and get Osimhen, we're talking completely different.
Can I just throw something out there? How much better is he than Raheem Sterling? Because at
Oh,
least Raheem
so much
Sterling.
better.
How much what?
Raheem
Raheem Sterling
Sterling
is the
remain-
most
okay,
overrated player in
I probably
England
should-
football
I-
history, bro.
I probably shouldn't
That-
be doing this,
That's
right?
insane.
But
That's insane. That's insane.
at least Raheem Sterling's fitness is pretty good. So are you better off having Raheem Sterling available for 30 games a season or Pedro Neto for 10?
Pedro
Just
Neto
out of
for 10.
interest, by the way. I'm
Be-
just kind of
be-
devil's
because
advocate
What?
when I don't need to.
you
Hold on,
might
are
as
you
well.
negative about this transfer?
No, I'm not. I'm just
Oh,
kind
no,
of
no, you're
wondering.
not.
I'm just kind of wondering. I'm actually not negative at all. I'm just playing devil's advocate for that one. Because if he's injured so much, are you better off having a player that consistently can stay fit in the team and Sterling for 30 games? Or are you better off having Pedro Neto in for 10 and then rotating Mudryk and Sterling for the others? Just devil's advocate.
Sterling just needs to go. That's what needs to be done. Sterling just needs
Do
to
you think
go.
this is the end of Sterling?
I think it's the end. It can't be the end of Mudryk. That's the only line. It cannot be the end of Mikhailo Mudryk because you spent too much money on Mikhailo. So by logic, it has to be the end of Raheem Sterling.
What
If
about
it's the
Madueke?
end of
Not the end
Mudryk,
of him.
if it's the end of Mudryk, Chelsea.
Was it the end of who, Nevins?
Madueke, would it not be him, perhaps?
Maybe, although he's had a good pre-season. I'm not sure. Especially, I thought Madueke would be destined for Palace, but now they're linked with Zaha. I'm not so sure.
Sorry, the link with who?
Zaha.
As in Wilfred.
Bringing him
third
out.
return. Yeah,
Back
Bring
on
him out.
loan.
I don't know about Madueke, but
So
Yeah,
I was just looking. I thought you were chatting nonsense about comparing him to Sterling, but
no, I'm
and
not. I'm not really. Rory.
I know goals aren't everything, but in the last 3 seasons combined, so since 21-22, 3 seasons, Neto's only made 51 appearances in the Premier League, and in that 51 appearances, he scored 3 goals.
I think he's only got 11 Prem goals ever.
Yeah, in 111 games.
Sterling's
And that's in
done
like
that
6 years.
a few times.
Interesting.
But Neto is also one of the best creative wingers in the Premier League, though. The guy creates chances.
Yeah, I
on
don't
the
disagree with
byline.
that.
Again, though, did Chelsea need more chances created or just someone to score the chances
That's
they
what- that's-
already create?
That's what
That
I'm
is a
thinking.
good. That's a good point. But to be fair, aren't they still in with Osimhen? Isn't that like still a
Yeah,
possibility?
we are. Apparently,
Well, they
he's
just
still
signed
on.
another
Did you
striker recently, didn't you?
Omorodion.
Yeah, Samu. Genuinely, how are Chelsea going to get the money for Osimhen at this point? Like, I'm genuinely curious. How are they going to wiggle profit and sustainability and FFP in that to afford another 70-80 million on Osimhen on top of the near 200 million that they've already spent this summer?
They'll just sell more things that aren't actual players, like hotels and pubs and I don't know the road outside Stamford
I mean,
Bridge.
wouldn't
They'll sell it all.
Lukaku? Wouldn't Lukaku go the other way? So it kind of offloads a little.
Yeah,
bit
but it'd
of
be
the
like
money spent on
they'd
him.
still have to pay the 70 million.
Yeah, it just
You know
restricts
why aren't we praising Chelsea for finally getting a ready-made player?
I think
Why
it's
do we every
unbelievable.
show? And I am someone who sat on solo streams and with you guys and with other panels and slacked Chelsea off a lot about signing the accordion guy. Me and Dan, I made fun of the Omorodion deal. I made fun of all the non-ready-made players. And then when Chelsea go and sign Neto, who everyone wanted, I know he's injury prone, but I'm sure that when Chelsea are getting him, they're looking at the injury history and they know if this guy has healed or not. There are a lot of players that we have seen in the history of the sport that have been injury prone and then they healed and they played a lot of games. I actually think that we should be, that's just my opinion, we should be speaking about how good this deal is and where does it take Chelsea. It's not like he's injury prone. Where does this take this front line? Palmer and Kunku with Pedro Neto. Assuming he stays fit. Why are we speaking about the negatives of this deal before we speak about the positives? Why? Because you're
the-
rivals? But I
because
thought this is the rational league.
No, because the negatives are a massive part. In the same way that if Man City signed Pedro Neto, everyone would still have the same question marks about his fitness. It's not like he misses 10 games a season. He misses on average 34 games a season. A Premier League season is 38 games long. That's not.
So you think Chelsea are gonna go? You think Chelsea are gonna go sign a player that will play 6 games? Is that what
No.
you think?
We're
not
going
fair
off
to
what
say
we've
zero.
seen. We're
Logic.
going off what
I
we've
want to
seen.
be very logical here. You think if Arsenal went and asked about Pedro Neto, they know the injury history. They inquired about him. They're gonna do the medical.
Right. There is for me, when I look at Arsenal and City and any other club like that who already have a set of wingers or like in their squad who are pretty much set in stone, it's a different case with them because Neto would be a backup. Neto would have his minutes carefully managed. From everything I've seen from Chelsea fans, Pedro Neto comes in and is an instant starter on that left-hand side. Therefore, he's in the same situation as he's in at Wolves, where he's starting every game, which is apparently one of the main reasons why he suffers so many injuries, because he doesn't get a chance to rest and recuperate properly because he's constantly in the first team. That's the concern. It's not a doubt on Pedro Neto's ability as a player. And like I said earlier, if Chelsea can keep him fit, they have got one of the best wingers in the league. But it's not like he misses 10 games a season. It's the fact that he misses on average 34 games a season. What are Chelsea going to do to fix that?
And it's the injuries he has too. Like they're hamstring injuries for a guy that relies on his pace and power a lot of the time. He's a very direct winger. We've seen those hamstring injuries that he has, the way he pulls up on them. They're very bad. And he has the Achilles injury that he had as well. So it's not like they're random injuries that you're like, okay, they're just bad luck. They're injuries that should be
he done his ACL a couple of years ago. So he was out for a whole season there. Then he done his ankle. Like, I think he had a fully fit year after that, which was a surprise. But I don't think he played as much. Then he done his ankle the year after. And then he had 2 major hamstring injuries last season. And it's the hamstring ones that are the real worry for a player like Neto.
I think it was both. It was both hamstrings as well, right? The first one was the one hamstring, and the second one was the other one. So that would actually be my biggest concern: is the chances of both of them having healed properly. But look, if he stays fit, good signing. I mean, yeah, I do wonder what the likes of the South American children that they bought. I do wonder what they're thinking at this point. Now that there's another barrier to getting anywhere near playing for Chelsea. But
how many left wingers do Chelsea have now?
Sterling. Neto's not even a left winger half the time.
But the thing about those players is that they're not left wingers, are they? Because like they can play in multiple positions.
I think it'd be better just to ask how many wingers Chelsea have.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're probably looking at over 10 on the books right now.
But in terms of like one to actually like not including like the very young players you've signed, like in terms of ones he'd say they're going to get consistent game time. How many true senior wingers do you reckon Chelsea have? There's Neto, there's Mudryk.
Sterling, Mudryk, Neto is 3. Palmer potentially. Madueke is 5. And Kunku could play there 6. Probably 6. And then if you're looking at, just trying to think, Tyreek George has been with the squad. Not really senior though. Yeah, it's probably about 6.
By the way, Chukwuemeka played last season. He started the season, the first 2 games as a left winger, by the way.
I think my thing was, because from a football perspective, I think he is. I like the signing. He's an upgrade. I know City fans were interested in the idea of Neto at City, so he's a very good player. He was also very good against City last season. As I say, very good player. We talked about the injury situation. That's whatever. The reason why I ask about senior players and stuff is because if we're still talking about negatives, we all know the positives. He is a fantastic player. I'd be interested in the thoughts of Enzo Maresca, who is, as we know, is like a Pep disciple, whatever. And notoriously, Pep and his disciples, whatever you want to call them, that they prefer small squads. Like, a City, for example, is a very small squad. It's a high quality squad. But it clearly focuses on quality, not quantity. I think now, even if we include McAtee and O'Reilly, two youth players from the academy, City's senior squad going into this season is now 22. I think so realistically, it's actually more like 20. I don't know how many true senior players there are at Chelsea. But I'd just be interested to know what Maresca thinks about that. Because again, the reason why Pep likes a small squad is so that he can be more in control of it, and so players don't get upset.
Wasn't that the problem that Potter had? Like I seem to remember, and I'm sure Dan correct me wrong. The problem Potter said he had was that squad was too big, and he was working with like 30 players in a training session, and it was tough to manage it. And now it doesn't seem like the squad's gotten smaller; it's gotten bigger. There's now 35 players in a first team session. Unless Maresca's a school teacher, I struggle to see how you can really get your message across to that many players.
Which to me suggests maybe, and we'll talk about off stream, maybe someone leaves Chelsea. Maybe like Madueke leaves or a Mudryk leaves just to try to bring some sort of clarity to the amount of physical bodies currently at Chelsea. I just don't see logistically how it's going to work across the season. Now, if those players don't care about not getting that many minutes, then it doesn't matter ultimately. But just from like a squad balance and playing perspective, that's what, if I was a Chelsea fan, that would be more my question rather than injuries. Because again, we all know how good of a player he is. I'm just more thinking, how do you satisfy everyone's needs? Ari starts, Ari minutes, because the players coming in for big money, it's unlikely they're going to be happy chilling on the bench for extended periods, or maybe not even on the bench.
I don't think you can. Like, there's no way, because even if you looked at it now and we talk about the wingers, but then let's say like you're Nicholas Jackson and you've seen Omorodion come in now, combined with the fact that Nkunku's been playing up top. Nicholas Jackson might have been thinking, oh, well, maybe I'll play out on the left, but now there's another barrier on the left. Like, it's every player in every position is going to be looking, especially in the attack, is going to be looking at it. It's like they're simply not going to get minutes. And then training sessions, like you said, I think Graham Potter said in the training sessions, the problem became when he had too many players to even have like an 11-a-side game where you'd have an A and a B team, and then he had to select players that weren't even going to take part in those games. It's like, that's crazy. If you're a professional footballer, senior footballer, and you're not even getting into the second team in training, that's fucked.
I think you have to remember that competition is healthy in the squad. So for someone like Jackson, he scored 15 to 17 goals last season in all comps. Is that enough for Chelsea's main striker to have no competition around him? Probably not.
It's a here we go. By the way, the deal is actually it's a here we go now. Like,
it's a here we go. Right, I'm real. By the way, I have a lot to
say.
Like
this is it's absolutely. This is, apart from the injury, this is one of the best pieces of business I have seen a club do over the past 3-4 years. The reason why I'm saying that, no one knew about it. No one negotiated. No one went into a bidding war with Chelsea. Chelsea didn't brief anyone about that in the media. And we have learned over the past year that under this ownership, everything gets leaked to the media from Chelsea. We have heard about all the problems that happened at Chelsea. And this deal, within 20 minutes, we have gone from Chelsea had reached an agreement with Neto to a here we go. We started the show 23 minutes ago. This Neto news broke 30 minutes ago, if I'm not mistaken. That is, I'm not talking about the player.
When you say the best transfer in the last 3 to 4 years, do you just mean how they've kept it quiet, not the actual...
How we kept it quiet and kept it under the radar. No one knew about it. They didn't brief the media about this. The negotiations were so quiet, and within 60 minutes, it's a here we go. This is how people want to do business. A lot of people said that Liverpool want to do the business this quiet. I have to praise Chelsea about this. We have been hearing about every single transfer that Chelsea have been doing, even the youngsters in Brazil and Argentina, with sagas. This is not a saga. This is just, they're interested, brief the media, it's a here we go. The player is with Chelsea shirt within 1 hour. It's an amazing piece of business. I've never seen something like this ever.
He has a medical to get through first, though, Mike.
I mean, I wouldn't say
we have to wait for this.
Yeah. No, in all seriousness, though, I have
Tom, when have you seen a transfer that no one knew about, and then within 1 hour, it's a here we go? And for a player with that magnitude, forget the injury, guys. This is the big transfer in the Premier League. He is Wolves' biggest player, if I'm not mistaken. Injuries or not injuries, he is Wolves' biggest asset, right? Chelsea just went to Wolves.
We had this with Fabinho. When we signed Fabinho, I
Yeah,
think
but
it was
that's not
like,
3-4 years ago, Tom. That's what I said 3-4 years ago, Tom.
but you
All
said
right.
you'd never seen anything like this before.
Listen.
You
I
said
think in
you'd
the
never
post
seen anything like
in the
this before.
post-COVID era, this is like one of the biggest signings to go under the radar that I can remember.
Yeah, PC.
Yeah, that I agree with.
Post-COVID.
Yeah, the PC. Yeah, PC.
On the, I was going to say something really wise. Then I've forgotten what I was going to say. What a blunder! Apologies.
I think if we're talking about the positives of Pedro
What was I
Neto,
saying?
one, I'm hoping you remember, Nobbins, and please butt in if
No,
you
sorry.
do.
Oh, I remember now.
Go
Sorry,
on,
can
go
I
on, go on,
interrupt?
go on, go on.
No. Yeah. So if I'm a Chelsea fan, because again, if I'm a Chelsea fan, there is hope because it clearly illustrates that the ownership can do good signings at a good price and a good quality and good utility and done in a good way, which Mo's already touched on. And obviously the Palmer signing was also very good. I don't think anyone expected that to go as well as it has. And so clearly it can. They can do it because these are intelligent people. But it's so as if you're a Chelsea fan, you'd hope they can do more of that. It's just there is this weird backdrop of all these other transfers, which it's like, well, where does that player fit in? Where does that player fit in? If you're looking at the more negative side of it, but if you're looking at the positives, I'm sure Dan, you are. You've got to look at it and go, right. Well, these owners, they can do business where they do know what they're talking about. So you would hope that this isn't just a case of if you throw a lot of shit at the wall, some of it will stick. You'd like to think that these are, accurate throws of manure. Do you get me?
Yeah, 100% I do. And I actually think there's a clear and obvious split in the signings. I think some are quite obviously these that's the reference you use, throwing shit and hoping some of it sticks. I think some of it is. I think some of it is hoping that they can turn these players into profit in a short amount of time. I think they're doing that with players like Datro Fofana and players like that who are never, ever going to see the light of day really at the Chelsea first team. They can go off on loans. They can even sit and make 5 to 10 appearances for Chelsea over a course of a season in cup competitions, things like that, and still generate a good amount of money. Lewis Hall is a player that comes from the academy that's generated a good fee. They're the types of deals that I think Chelsea are trying to do with those sort of players. If they make 5 million, if they make 10 million, it's profit on the books. And every now and then you'll buy one for 20 million and they'll turn into, or they'll exceed expectations like Cole Palmer did for 40 million. He's now arguably one of Chelsea's most valuable assets. And he definitely wasn't signed in the same light that he now represents at Chelsea. For Pedro Neto, I think this is the type of deal that says to me that Chelsea aren't happy with where they are in the table. And that's what I've been crying out for all summer is improvement to the starting 11, which we haven't seen. People talk about Dewsbury Hall and Tosin, but for me, they're not on a level. Pedro Neto is the type of player that I would be expecting Chelsea to sign when fit on his day. The Chelsea of old would make a signing like this. It excites me. He's an exciting player. He started the season before injury, obviously, probably as one of the top 5 Premier League players last season. He was the top assister, I think, up until De Bruyne returned. Is that right, Nobbins?
Oh, I don't know.
He was. I remember him being up there on like 7, 8 assists for a while
Yeah,
because I had him in my fantasy
he had
team.
9 assists.
Yeah, I
like,
had
the
him in my
first half of the
fantasy
season.
team. So I just remember he just kept getting me assists. And I couldn't believe it because Neto could never put games together. And he obviously still could. And he missed 20 games last season. And there is a massive question mark over his injuries. But for me, for where it puts our left-hand side now, I feel confident about it. Because if we're bringing on Raheem Sterling or Mudryk as cover for him, if he's our main left wing and he's starting, I feel confident in the squad and its depth there on that left hand side now. Whereas I probably didn't feel that confident with Mudryk and Sterling going into the season. But for me, the most refreshing and most important thing is it tells me that the board aren't happy with where they are on the table and they want to improve the starting 11. Because I've been questioning that. I've been questioning saying, are they happy with being 6th, 7th, 8th, all the way down to 12th, just to make sure the books keep ticking over and you do okay in some cup competitions? No. Pedro Neto is a statement to the rest of the Premier League. So I like that.
Do you reckon he plays off the left or the right? Like in your best 11?
I think I have a feeling that this season our wide area is going to be really important from what I've seen in pre-season with Maresca. I feel like he's versatile to play off either. If I'm looking at a starting 11, I think he probably starts on the left. However, Raheem Sterling's had a good pre-season, so I'd be intrigued to see if this is his last sort of chance at Chelsea to have another good season. But if I'm looking at it, he's probably starting on the left for me. But
do you think this signing as well? Sorry to cut you down. Do you think this signing also like locks in Palmer as more of a central player?
Yeah,
Like,
I do.
is that his future now?
The way Maresca's had his team set up, I believe we're going to see Nkunku and Palmer occupy fairly similar positions in the same team on either side of the pitch. And Nkunku's been kind of playing, I don't know what you want to call it, but it's almost like an 8.5 to a 10 sort of role. He's picking up the ball in certain areas, drifting off towards the left-hand side, but dropping deeper at the same time. And I think Cole Palmer will do the same sort of role on the opposite side, and probably Lavia / Casado will occupy a more central midfield type of role with one of the fullbacks inverting. That kind of looks like what we've seen in pre-season. Cole Palmer's capable of playing out on the right. We've seen that for England when he's come on at times, and we've seen it last season for Chelsea. So I think it's about the versatility. I think Maresca knows that he's going to have a fixed system, but he knows he's got a number of different players that can play in different roles. I think Cole Palmer will fit in. For me personally, I feel like Cole Palmer would be our best right-hand side option in the team.
Let me do a couple of super chats. And guys, we have almost 1,500 people here. We need to get to 1,000 likes for the show. And also, all the guys' channels are in the description. Rory, this is actually a record for the show. Just a record for the show. That's how Chelsea are effective. Dan's channel is in the description. Griggs' channel is in the description. And Nobin's channel is in the description. So hit that like button, people. Papa Beard is saying, but, FFP, wah. Okay. ADLFC, big up Mo Ibn Baladi. Thank you, Habibi, so much. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, Habibi. Thank you so much. Ibn Baladi, guys, means son of my country. We say that to people from Egypt. If you're from Egypt, you say Ibn Baladi means son of my country. Just for context. Zubimendi apparently looked upset, hugging his teammates. I don't know what that means, Jack.
Oh, it's not that bad, Liverpool. Come on, it's not that bad.
I don't know what that means.
I assume he just means that, like, that's a sign that Zubimendi's moving. Like, he was saying goodbye to them because he knew he was moving.
I mean, he's playing in a friendly today, so who knows?
He's actually playing.
Yeah.
Papa Beard is saying Chelsea is bad. Whatever they do, this lot move on. No,
Cole Palmer was good. Cole Palmer was good.
No.
Does he mean in terms of just as the club? He doesn't like the club.
No. He's talking about the panel. He's actually talking about the panel.
No, I will give Chelsea praise when they do good business. When they do business that I believe is befitting Chelsea.
I'll give them praise when the business turns into good performances in the league. Like, until we see them playing, that last season they didn't have a good season. So,
come on, Rory. I gave Arsenal credit last season for their transfer window, and I said, like, the transfer window is unbelievable, and it will definitely put them in a position to compete for the title better than what they did the season before. And I hadn't even seen Rice kick a ball. Haven't seen Havertz.
No, that's fair.
But I was one of the only people that went out there to back Havertz.
But you'd seen them play football previously. I don't know who 90% of your signings are.
Well, I think you have to look at who likely is going, unless they emerge during the season, you have to look at the ones on paper that likely sort of stand out. You're tossing Dewsbury Hall and probably the goalkeeper that we signed, and I would say this Neto deal. They're the four main additions to Chelsea's squad.
I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of mid.
I don't. By the way, I do not disagree. But if we say we get Osimhen done before the end of the window as well, then I'd be pretty okay with that transfer window. I would still be concerned that we haven't replaced the defender of Thiago Silva's quality, though.
If you sign Osimhen with Pedro Neto, that sounds a lot better because Pedro Neto
does, right?
On the cut line.
I didn't expect Chelsea to go after a player of Pedro Neto's stature or anything like that, because I just thought we weren't there anymore. We were only attractive to championship players, or mid-table Premier League players.
Or South American children. You got to remember the South American children that you sign as well. You're really attractive to them.
But it's really weird, isn't it? But it's almost like Chelsea are their stepping stone. So it is that Chelsea did this before under Roman. We signed Kennedy, Nathan, Lucas Piazon.
Lucas Piazon.
There's quite a few. Oscar was young when he came. He played a few games, obviously, at Internacional. Like, there's quite a lot that were young South American players coming in, and they never, ever really saw the light of day at Chelsea, and they got moved on, some for a profit, some not, by the way. It was kind of just a hit and hope, again, like Nobbins was saying. But that isn't different to me. I think the only difference is the type of money that's being spent. Before was like 5 million. Now it's a market that Chelsea are being mugged off, in my opinion, when they're spending 20 million, 25 million. on
Actually,
defenders like
I have
Harry Kane.
can I have a comment?
If Chelsea
Can I-
can keep their players fit, so a lot of Chelsea fans have told me that last year they really struggled because A, the manager wasn't very good, and B, a lot of their players are out injured for long periods of time. If the biggest thing Chelsea can do this summer is somehow keep the majority of these players fit for the whole season, then they'll have a really good season because they'll actually have a chance for all these signings to gel together, which is what I think has been a big problem. But is it going to happen that players who have been injury prone for years now collectively don't become that? I've never seen that happen before. Now, maybe Chelsea have I saw people have been putting in the comments that Chelsea have brought in a new medical department. Maybe this medical department is, the best in the world, and maybe they have these methods to stop that. Then Chelsea are in for a real good stand. But I just look at that squad and I worry about the injuries, and I worry about how often are Chelsea going to be put in situations like last year where the Sassy's playing left back or right back because injuries have caught up again.
I don't think as much because of the recruitment's gone on. I think they've kind of identified that as an issue and gone, right, if we go down to the bare bones now, we need to have players there. They've signed players like Vega, who can come in and cover a centre-back, left-back, and he's a young kid, he's 20, Brazilian, but he's been there pre-season, and he looks okay. I'm not sure what level, but probably better than what we have in the academy to step up, in my opinion, because I don't personally think Chelsea's academy right now is at the level that it was, say, 7 to 10 years ago. When you look at the likes of like Reece James, Tamori, Mason Mount, all those players now, if you look at a squad of them, it's pretty solid and probably better than what our starting 11 is in certain areas.
I'm gonna.
So I think.
Go ahead.
Man.
I was gonna add something about the side that Chelsea don't need a striker. One experienced centre back for Chelsea. The starting 11 is very competitive. Palmer, Neto, Nkunku, Dewsbury Hall, Lavia, Caicedo, Malagusto, Reece James, Kokorea, and one of Colwell, Badiashile, whoever.
Okay,
and one centre back. That is a competitive starting. I would bet on that starting lineup. The only problem is gonna still be Enzo Maresca, which is we don't know. But in terms of a team, if that team has a good manager that is an established manager, that team is on par with a lot of with everyone else.
Well, your midfield have Dewsbury Hall over Enzo Fernandez. That's not happening at Chelsea. Enzo Fernandez is starting at that football club, whether Maresca likes it or not. There's no way they're going to leave a £105 million signing on the bench.
Well, apparently he's vice captain now, so he's going to.
He's vice captain.
Somewhere.
Yeah, Enzo Fernandez is vice captain.
Oh yeah, you guys didn't know that they have him as vice captain.
So
instead of Conor Gallagher, there is Reece James and there is.
Did what happened 3 weeks ago just not happen? Did what happened 3 weeks ago on Instagram Live not happen?
Well, apparently, Wesley Fofana has come out
captain,
publicly and kind of spoke on behalf of everyone that was affected by that situation and buried it. And they've kind of said that, look, it was obviously a misunderstanding on Enzo's point of view that he shouldn't have been saying that, blah, 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 whatever it is, however you feel about it. I don't think it's acceptable personally. I was quite surprised at the move, but I think it's a statement of, I don't know of intent, but it's a statement from Chelsea to make him vice captain to suggest that he's not hated and actually he's respected in that dressing room. So I don't know. We'll see how it develops.
I don't want to discuss. I don't want to discuss that.
I don't want to go on
again.
Chelsea as a football club have buried it to the public eye, which I like. I think
that is wrong. That is wrong for me. That is wrong for me. But I'm not going to discuss this again. That is wrong for me.
It needs to be okay. Yes, but internal club matters like what happened shouldn't, for me, I don't think should be aired as publicly as they were with unfollowing on Instagram and things like that. That should be discussed in the dressing room and behind closed doors, and all the punishments and whatever else comes out of that should all be behind closed doors, because I think there are internal issues between people who we actually don't know. We don't know how that's come across. We don't know the words and the discussions that have happened. And it came out publicly, which for me is bad for Chelsea. Do I think what's happened is acceptable now? It's in the public eye. No, but I don't think we need to talk about it anymore going forwards. Chelsea have backed Enzo. Chelsea have backed the other players as well, with making sure that Enzo's donating to charities and things like that to make sure that people are learning from it. So
you muted, Tom.
Who was your vice captain?
Chilwell and Conor Gallagher.
that probably means Chilwell's gone as well. And
Well, I was kind of thinking that's probably the case.
He is replacing Gallagher. It's still Chilwell and Enzo Fernandez as vice captains to Reece James. This is what they actually said.
I just don't get what leadership qualities he has to be made vice captain. I'm not gonna lie. He's a kid.
I don't think football quality he has to start for Chelsea, bro. Forget leadership quality, bro.
So that's the issue I have, is that if he's not good enough to get into the starting 11 and he's a vice captain, I worry about that straight away. We kind of had that problem last year, not on ability, but Reece James was never fit, and he was basically not our captain last season because Conor Gallagher was due to injury. So now that kind of concerns me as well. If you make Enzo vice captain and Reece isn't fit and he's captain, he's got to be in the team, hasn't he? So
to be fair, what I saw from Enzo Maresca last year at Leicester, and the way he used Harry Winks, I'm not surprised that he's going to value Enzo. He wants that kind of play that can average over 100 touches per game. Enzo is better than Harry Winks at the end of the day. So let's not.
What about Lavia and Casado though? Because they're both going to fill a similar role.
And they both look way better than
they both do look a lot better.
Levels, bro, like levels.
That's a clear lake issue for signing 5 midfielders of that age group that all need to be starters at this point of the game.
Just to be honest with you, they actually don't have a lot of first team midfielders. They only have about 5, actually. That's it. Dewsbury Hall, Enzo, Caicedo, Lavia. Yes. The rest are Chukwuemeka here and there, Ogochukwu. Like, actually, if you actually count first teamers for Chelsea, there's only 4. And if you add Chukwuemeka to that, it's just 5. The rest of them are names that we might not, as Nobin said, we might not even see ever play for Chelsea. All these names, we might not see them. But
to be fair, they have.
I don't know why people.
I can't remember his name. That Brazilian centre mid. What's his name? Andre Santos,
but he's out on loan at Strasbourg.
He's on loan, bro. He's on loan.
He's one of the few that I look at and go, yeah, he's probably got a future at Chelsea because he's really good.
Do you really think that? Because for me, the fact that he's been loaned out again to Strasbourg is putting him back on the market for people to look at. And if someone's offering 40, 50 million,
I'd like to think he has a future at Chelsea because he's certainly one of the best ones that I've seen out of the crop that you've signed.
I don't disagree with you, but when you've got Lavia, Enzo, Casado, Ogochukwu all at Chelsea when he isn't, and they've all been brought
I
into
thought the plan was to loan out
as well.
I thought you were planning on loan. I thought you were planning on loan out.
I don't know, but right now, Andre Santos has got a loan move and for 2 seasons in a row, and Ogochukwu been kept at the club. So for me, that says to me that the squad and the directors are saying that Ogochukwu should be at the club instead.
I mean, I look at Andre Santos.
I think he's more of a natural DM. That's why.
Who, Ogochukwu?
Yeah, he's a natural.
All I can say on him is the one main difference that he has that the centre midfielders don't is a physical presence. He's a lot taller. He's a lot bigger. And I think that's probably his main difference that the others in the team didn't have.
Before we go with super chats and just move on to Zubimendi and Mikel Moreno, what are the expectations for Chelsea this season now? You signed an established player, and assuming you don't get Osimhen, because I actually don't think you make 2 marquee signings. I don't think so. Unless there is a deal that is happening with Osimhen that I don't know about because he doesn't want to lower his wages. What are the expectations?
Well, not top 3.
I was kind of waiting for everyone else to say.
not top 3. I don't think that's reasonable. You're looking at competing with, United and Villa and Newcastle rather than trying to challenge City, Arsenal, Liverpool. I think so. What's sort of like 4th to 6th is probably realistic in terms of where they will finish next season. I think.
Yeah, I think there's good.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a big scrap for 4th and 5th, for maybe 5th if it's an extra Champions League spot. But I think that's where the big fight's going to be. I don't think this suddenly propels them into top 3.
No,
I'm very surprised at that.
There's still question marks in that Chelsea squad, and even if they were to add Osimhen, my big question marks are about their defence. I do wonder about their defence in terms of I didn't rate Robert Sanchez when they bought him. Not seen anything in this Philip Jorgensen, but all I know is that he got dribbled past like 3 times on his debut against Real Madrid. It's not really a stat you want to see for your goalkeeper.
It's fun.
Left backs, is Cucurella going to be able to bring this form from Spain over, or are we going to get a more return to early Chelsea Cucurella type thing where he was hounded by the fans? I don't really rate a lot of the centre backs. I think that there's like Fofana, if he can stay fit, and Colwell, that's a good partnership. Is it top 2, top 3 level? Probably not yet. But it's a good partnership. Can it stay fit? Do I rate the backups? Not necessarily. If they had Osimhen, then attack can be really frightening. I just wonder about that defense.
Isn't it now? Isn't it now, guys? It's not now. You guys don't rate Palmer and Nkunku, Neto now. You don't think that's one of the best in the Premier League?
But having a good attack doesn't all of a sudden mean your defense is fine.
Okay, but on paper, Tom, you don't think that Palmer and Nkunku, Neto,
It's a good
with
attack.
the solid.
It's the 3rd or 4th best attack in the league.
Okay.
I think the issue is that scoring goals wasn't their problem last season, and I don't think they've really improved the midfield. And arguably, the defense is even worse without Thiago Silva.
Well, Dewsbury Hall the midfield stayed the same. Conor Gallagher's left. Dewsbury Hall's come in. Dewsbury Hall probably is better technically than Conor Gallagher in a Maresca system.
The midfield is a minor improvement. The defense is a major loss.
Massive problem. Massive problem.
Thiago Silva's experience was massive. And I still think Thiago Silva was actually a very good defender. But he was slowing down, but he still had all the attributes to be a really good defender.
He was miles above most of the other defenders in our team. Trevor Chalobah was probably closest, and he's going as well. So in terms of central defenders, that is. So
it's less about squad quality for me and more about relative inexperience of the squad, not necessarily as senior players, but as in working together, and also the relative inexperience of the manager at the top level. It's not easy to implement, a Maresca style of football quickly. Chelsea were not playing that style last season for the most part. It's not going to happen overnight. So I think it will be a question of how quickly can Maresca figure out what his best team is as well, first of all, and then once he's figured that out, how quickly will they? Will he adapt? Will he be stubborn? And then going on from there. So I think it's more about how will it meld together rather than the actual quality of the individuals. Because as you said, the quality of the individuals is very high. It's more about how will they blend together for me.
I think my favorite piece about this Neto stuff is apparently Tottenham putting a bid for them of like Cash and Oliver Skip to try and give him tools like they want Oliver Skip.
I think for me, right, on the Chelsea situation for the coming season and where we should be looking and realistically where we've made improvements, I think if Dewsbury Hall and Lavia are additions to the midfield, because Lavia obviously didn't play last season, if there's any chance of him playing more than half an hour this season, it's better than he did last year. For me, they're two good sort of additions to the midfield. I think going forward, we missed a lot of chances last year, but we still did score goals, thankfully, because of Cole Palmer. Jackson probably could have had 10 more goals than he did on chances missed. That's why, for me, I feel like an additional striker coming in to kind of help him share that weight would be useful, especially with the Conference League now, if we can qualify for that. And then defensively, like we've all touched on, I worry about that. In terms of the system, we haven't got anywhere near where we should be off of the back of pre-season in terms of the understanding, and then ability-wise, I would have massive question marks over a couple of our central defenders that are in that team. So if Chelsea if they stay as they are, for me, they have to achieve 5th, because you don't sack Poch, who was on target to probably get to that sort of level this season and not try and improve. So for me, they need to be looking at 5th and above. If they add a centre-back, then I would say, and because the centre-back probably wouldn't be cheap, and if they add Osimhen, for me, to spend that much money and not be targeting top 3, if you had Osimhen and a centre-back come in, that would be hypothetical, obviously, but also an unbelievable amount of money spent. You kind of have to look at targeting top 3 if you sort of bring in those sort of names. But right now, for me, 5th is where I think Chelsea have to be at. It's an improvement on last season. You've sacked a manager who was improving, and you have to show that there was a reason for that and a positive reason. So anything lower than 5th for me isn't acceptable as a Chelsea fan right now, going into the season.
I think that's reasonable. Yeah, I think I'd agree with that.
Ahmed Suleiman is saying Madueke was injury prone before joining. Robin, Pulisic were injury prone at Chelsea. Look how it is different. Now you cannot just generalize. Thank you, Ahmed,
and to add to that, Pulisic, Tomori and Ruben Loftus-Cheek have all had far better injury records at AC Milan than they had at Chelsea. Most of the players that left Chelsea that were potentially injury prone. Even Kovacic, they've sort of been able to change. Mason Mount is probably the one that got worse.
So then, what does that mean for a player who going into Chelsea is already?
Well, they've
regarded as
now
injury
sacked
prone?
they've now sacked the medical team, Tom. And the only thing I'll say is if you're looking at Pedro Neto, yes, he's very heavily dependent on at Wolves. He's probably going to be Chelsea's best left-sided winger. But there are players there that could be used as rotation that Wolves don't have of a similar quality.
Like I said,
think if you're looking at,
if you keep him fit, he's immense. But
well, exactly right.
I
But
have doubts about keeping him fit.
Even if he can't stay fit for more than 20 games, if Sterling shares the load with him, or Mudryk, or Jackson, or Nkunku, whoever plays out there, or Madueke on the other side, or whoever else, Cole Palmer, then you're looking at a player who can win you games in that 10, 15 game spell that you might have in a season, which could change the course of your season if a player can step up and be unbelievable for that many games. So it's difficult. They're going to have a big squad. It causes a lot of the more signings, the more pressure on Maresca, by the way, just to add that for an inexperienced manager. But yeah, we've sacked a lot of the people that were involved in the so-called injury crisis of the last few seasons. So Chelsea have to see if they can make improvements there. But the last time I checked, there are still jobs available to work in Chelsea's medical team on Jobs in Football. So they probably haven't found anyone yet.
Mr. Neto will have less injuries with Maresca's style. That is what
Maybe.
I don't know why, but fine. I don't know what is the style has to do with.
Maybe it's like
he still has to run with the ball.
Less physical, more tactical, I think, is the point he's trying to make.
Okay.
Like maybe less counter-attacking,
see.
less direct sprints, whatever. Who knows?
True.
Yeah,
Lol.
yeah.
Tom is absolutely seething. Look at his face.
Yeah, look at that seething face.
Is he better than Diaz?
Lad, most people are better than Diaz.
Right. Okay.
Like, don't use me as a comparison matrix for Diaz. I don't like Diaz. If you were to ask me, is he better than Gakpo? I'd go Gakpo. Just 'cause I think he's more reliable. I'd rather a guy who maybe is slightly worse ability-wise but can give me 30 games a season than the unknown.
That's what I was
quantity of
saying about
games.
Sterling, by the way. That's the argument I was making.
But I think the difference between Sterling and a Gakpo is the age. Like, Sterling's 32, so you don't even know if that's going to be...
29.
Fuck off. Is he 29?
Yeah, he's 29.
Oh my God. I've had in my head that he's like 31, 32 now. Oh my God, he's
retired from
29.
England at quite a young age, yeah.
Jesus Christ. Even then, it's a bit older type thing. So I'm not bothered that Chelsea have got Neto. I didn't think we were going to get him, so why would I be bothered?
Tom, you would Tom, you would not be saying this if Neto joined Liverpool. Liverpool fans get upset at Lavia Caicedo. Now Neto, we have been talking about Neto all transfer window, but now he's not good.
I would be saying all this about Neto if he joined, because it's the same thing as Jota. I don't want another Jota. I don't want another Portuguese player who is really good, but I don't know how many games they're going to give me a season. That's not what I want. You can maybe afford one of them in your squad if you're like right at the top. I don't think Chelsea should be trying to hedge all their attacking bets if they can't get Osimhen on Neto. Because you don't have no guarantee of how much football he's going to play. He's a good player. I won't change that. Like I said, he would be, if you could guarantee me Pedro Neto gets new hamstrings, he would be every club's top target. But no one knows how many games he's going to play, so there's a clear concern there. So that I didn't want us to get him.
Liverpool fans don't talk about McAllister. He was talking about the Enzo situation, Mo. I get what you're saying.
McAllister wasn't on the bus, so.
Okay. I just want to know how many hotels they have to sell. Yeah, that's what Nobins was talking about.
We've sold
An English talent FCC. Neto, 30 GA in 6 seasons versus Gordon, 25 GA in 2 seasons. Gordon is a fantastic player, but Gordon would cost double that much money. Already Newcastle are talking about 80 million pounds. Already.
I'm not gonna lie, I would rather spend 80 mil on Anthony Gordon than 60 mil on Neto.
I don't think you get Gordon for 80 million considering how much they bought him in for.
To be fair, we nearly got him for 75.
This window?
But hold on, but you valued Gomez at 35.
So
remember that deal?
It was 45. It was basically they were gonna
so
buy
even
Joe
more.
Gomez off us.
So that means
They were going to buy Joe Gomez off us for 45 million, and we were going to buy Anthony Gordon for 75 million. So that 30.
But Joe Gomez is not worth 45, Tom. That's the thing.
But then in the same breath, Anthony
Gordon was a PSR. No, he is worth 75. They bought him for 45. He was the best left winger in the league, but we weren't talking about that.
you can't say one side of a PSR deal is overinflated. Both sides are by virtue of its PSR.
Anyway, okay, guys, there's 1,500 people here. Let's get to 1,000 likes if we can. That would be absolutely fantastic. It helps that show. It helps the algorithms. We are not even in 500 likes, guys. And these guys' channels, I'm repeating, in the description, you can go and each one of them can get 100 to 200 to 300 subscribers easy. By the way, if you click on their channels. Zubimendi, Tom, talk to me. Is he the right signing first before we go on?
Yeah, he's the best DM that's on the market in terms of how, especially for how Slot wants to play and the job that the guy in the pivot alongside McAllister is going to have in terms of receiving the ball off the centre backs, helping to build up play from deep. Zubimendi is apparently one of the best in the business at that type of play. Having McAllister next to him covers your more attacking member of the pivot. I think that him and McAllister will be a fantastic little partnership in there. There's going to be some question marks about the physicality of it. Are they going to be able to, if they were to go up against like an Aston Villa type midfield where it's Onana and Kamara, which is pure physicality, how are they going to handle it? And that's a fair concern to have, 100%. I do feel that there will be certain situations where, because I don't believe we're going to get Endo gone this summer. So I do believe that there will be 1 or 2 games where Endo is chucked in order to just kick people. But in terms of Zubimendi and McAllister's partnership, I just think there's so much technical security there and so much possession control that you can kind of get away with them not making 7 tackles a game because they won't need to, because they're smart footballers who can intercept the ball before it has to get to a tackle, or they won't give the ball away in stupid positions where they need to make the tackle in order to win it back, which is the main problems we were having last year. If you add Zubimendi to this team, alongside the improvement to the system, I do think Liverpool look a lot more secure defensively compared to last season. And if everything's true that we are looking at bringing in another defender on top of that who can sort of do a job at left back as well, I know it's not going to happen, but Bastoni was the kind of profile that was mentioned. If you can get a player of that ilk, a left-footed guy who can cover at left back, then I think that does help solve the majority of the problems that you've got. And all of a sudden, you're looking at Liverpool a lot differently. And I think it's a big thing because Zubimendi hasn't wanted to leave Sociedad for how many years now. So many clubs have went in and tried to convince him. But apparently we're the ones that have turned his head. And he's given... while we were on stream, another Spanish articles come out from Relevo about how the clubs are still negotiating. We could potentially give some players to Sociedad as part of the deal, but the players already given us thumbs up to the deal. So for all intents and purposes, for all we know, he's agreed to join and he wants to join, which is further than certain clubs have gotten. So that fills me with positivity. I'm all for the signing. I think it's a real good pickup. And I'm not going to sit and say I've watched loads of Sociedad. I have watched bits and pieces. And I remember his performance against England in the final when he came on for Rodri. Very good.
Does that signing worry anyone?
I think it's a massive upgrade on. Endo. I think there will be the only question mark will be the physicality of a midfield that's predominantly Zubimendi and McAllister, like Tom said. But outside of that, yeah, I think it's an absolute quality signing. There's a reason.
Someone commented on my show, Rory, yesterday. You're probably the best one to ask this question. Someone commented that Arne Slot is going towards the last era of Arsene Wenger when he got rid of all the physical midfielders with the Gilberto Silvas. Before that, he had the Patrick Vieira and he went for the Cazorlas and the other technical midfielders. And what is that? Jacob? No, it's not Jacob. Ramsey. Aaron Ramsey. And these guys. And it didn't work out because they were eaten alive in the midfield all the time, defensively. Offensively looked great. Is that something that you think that Arne Slot is going towards that?
Aaron Ramsdale was relatively physical. I still think he was like 6 foot, not like massively physical. But I think the issue we had was that Abu Diaby got injured. And so that was like that was the next Vieira, effectively. It did work. In the majority of games, it did work. But yeah, there were games.
Some teams in that period of time.
That was the thing.
Football Arsenal played was unreal.
It looked absolutely fantastic, which is Pedro. Sorry, what's his name? Zubimendi looks this way.
That was a different, but it was a different Premier League then, Mo, as well. You were coming
It's
up against
even more
Chelsea's-
physical now, guys.
Yeah,
I
but
think
no,
it's even more physical now.
I actually disagree because I think then you were coming up against teams that were filled with physical monsters, like all over. Like Chelsea's midfield was huge. It was like, or not even huge, but physical. It had like
Chelsea were on like SEM, Ballack, Lampard. We were running Mascherano and
then you go and play
Gerrard.
Liverpool and you got Mascherano, Gerrard. Like these are absolute crunchers. You like Ramsey goes and plays away at Stoke and has his leg broke. Like Arsenal had like 4 leg breaks in a period of time with that squad.
Yeah. That was the thing. Like Abu Diab, his leg got broken and it was given as a yellow card. Like they were the sort of days where those midfielders could get bullied and kicked off the pitch and nothing
Billy
would happen.
Gilmour is now a Premier League centre midfielder. He would never have been 10 years ago. I can tell you that right
but
now.
I think that midfield, in my opinion, that midfield looks absolutely fun. Everyone talking about it suits Arne Slot's way of playing, right? It does. On the ball. On the ball only.
No, but Mo, I think as well it depends on who the third guy in that, because we're not just playing 2. There is the more advanced player. If Harvey Elliott is your advanced player, then there is problems about the physicality side of it, because Harvey Elliott isn't quick. Harvey Elliott isn't tall. If you've got Soboslai in there, he's a bit more physical. He can hold his own a little bit, and then you've got the technical security and defensive quality just behind him. Even though he does possess a bit himself, and Zubimendi's from the numbers anyway. Like I said, I've not watched much of Sociedad. From the numbers perspective, he's not like he doesn't get bullied. He's won the most aerial duels out of any midfielder in Europe's top 5 leagues across the past 2 years, which suggests he can handle a bit of physicality. Even McAllister last year, his numbers were pretty good. It was just people remembered the stint where he was the lone 6 and had Soboslai and Jones playing as basically 10s, leaving him adrift. Most midfielders struggle with that because they're dealing with 2v1s, 3v1s. If you put them together and then you add Trent inverting alongside them with Soboslai in front of them, I do think that you can negate most physical midfields in that sense. And then you add the quality on the ball and the fact that you're going to dominate more possession and your style of play is going to be more focused on control. Again, that will change it. The reason we struggled at points last year was because we would turn games that didn't need to be basketball games into basketball games. We'd make them end-to-end. We'd make them exciting. And that meant that the lack of physical quality in our midfield was being exposed because they were going up and down constantly. They were having to try and win the ball back in different areas. Now that we're going for a team that's a lot more controlled, the idea that we're going to be dragging midfielders 20 yards out to press and stuff, I feel like it's not going to be exposed as much.
I like the signing. I think it's good.
I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at you, Tom. Dan just sent us something.
No, I've seen that. Yeah. I like the signing. It's good. Last season, people that said, are Liverpool title challenges. I personally don't think they are unless they signed a quality DM. Looks like they're going to be signing a quality DM. I think it's great business if it does happen. I don't know how much I buy the idea that you need an overly physical midfield. Like you don't need every single player in that midfield to be like this over 6 foot man of steel sort of thing. In my opinion, the best midfield in Premier League history contained 3 players who were under 6 foot tall, if memory serves, and Fernandinho, David Silva, and De Bruyne. I know Fernandinho is a tenacious player, but he wasn't in the same physical.
He's fantastic defensively, Nobbins. He's fantastic defensively.
Of course, but he knew how to use his body, but he wasn't this physical weapon or battering ram that I think we were talking about before. That you don't need to be a physical monster to know. Even like players like David Silva and Bernardo Silva, like they know how to use their body well. I've not watched enough of Zubimendi, but maybe he's that sort of player where he doesn't necessarily need to rely on his physical aggression and physicality and being dominant, etc. Maybe he just knows how to use his body well. So I don't know how much I buy into the idea of it's an overly frail midfield. You don't necessarily need to do that if you're dominating in other areas of the pitch. So yeah, I think it's a great signing. Do I think he'll push them to win the title? I don't even know if that question was asked. I've just asked myself. I don't. Yeah,
I actually was going to ask this question. Obviously.
There you go. Unreal scenes. I'm going to err on the side of I still think it will be City and Arsenal in the top 2. I'm actually erring more towards Arsenal being that one. I think that it would be a big ask, similar to my thoughts on Chelsea, a big ask for Slot to come in first season and immediately beat both Arteta's Arsenal and Guardiola's City. Unbelievable achievement if he does it, obviously. I think the quality of the squad is there. Again, I would just question, could he do it, hit the ground running immediately? So I think I'm erring more on third. He could do, obviously.
I think they're more of a threat in the Champions. I think they're more of a threat in the Champions League, to be honest. Anyway, because they're gonna be Champions League football. They have the players in attack. Obviously, Mohamed Salah, Nunez, Jota, Diaz. That are probably gonna be more counter threatening. And when I watched the game last week against us, they looked very comfortable playing on the counter. And in Champions League football, if you're very comfortable playing on the counter, you're gonna do really well. So in the league, there's no way Arne Slot can beat Pep Guardiola to the league title in his first season. There's just no way. Their squad isn't good enough. First of all,
very difficult. There's not many managers who've like come in first year and won. Like Conte did it, Pellegrini did it, but there's not many names. Like Klopp didn't do it, Guardiola didn't do it, etc.
Can they challenge though? Can they put themselves in the picture though? Does anybody see them, or do you see them 15, 20 points or 10 points behind?
No.
If Zubimendi's the
so
only
you guys think they're gonna be in the picture?
There will be 8 games left in the season, and Liverpool will still be there. Yes.
Oh, okay. So they will have a chance then.
Yeah, I think it will be a lot closer to this season's like type of performance. I don't think they'll fall off that much, to be honest with you. Because I think that Arne Slot will have more hunger and more desire to achieve in this Liverpool side than Klopp had in his last season.
There's also, like, if we add other pieces to this squad, like we get that defender that was mentioned, or by some miracle from up high, Diaz goes and we can get Gordon in.
Would you take Kingsley Coman? I saw he was available and I was wondering whether or not you'd take him.
No.
Nah.
You guys know who's available.
Now the curse is broken. It's like he's not wanted.
Do you guys know who's available? And you guys know that Alphonso Davies is available for £40 million, right?
Yeah, but isn't he doesn't he have his heart set on Madrid?
Madrid don't want to pay the money.
Yeah,
Is he also the sort of left back that Liverpool need, really? Do they not need a more defensive-ish left back if the more offensive work is going to come from the right back?
The issue is we're not going to get rid of Robertson.
Chilwell.
But we're not going to get rid of Robertson, which is I assume, based on the way that we have the right back set up, where Trent is your guy who inverts and Bradley's your guy who bombs on. We kind of want that on the left as well, so you can rotate fullback options. Right now, we have Robertson who bombs on and Tsimikas who is Tsimikas. He needs to fuck off. And then we need a guy who inverts on that side. I don't think Alphonso Davies is that guy. And we're not going to sell Robertson and bring in Alphonso Davies this window. I don't think I'd love it, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think
Tsimikas ain't going anywhere, man.
The day Tsimikas leaves will be party central in my house. I'm telling you, one of the worst left backs I've seen. I've seen Alberto Moreno have better seasons than Tsimikas has given me.
Bro, he call him something Greek scouts, bro. He ain't going anywhere. He's already made it home at Liverpool.
Like I'd like Hinchcapié from Leverkusen. If you can get him through the door and have him be a left centre back, left back hybrid type role, I think that adds to it. I also think it's going to come down to injuries. If Trent misses 3-4 months again like he did last year, and Salah misses 2-3 months like he did last year, and McAllister misses 2 months, and Szoboszlai misses 2 months, and Jota does as usual, missing 3 months, then we are probably going to fall off, because a lot of these players are going to be integral to this new system and its integration. But if we can keep the majority of them fit, I do think that there is I don't think we win the title. I don't, but I do think I certainly don't think we're 15 to 20 points adrift. For I do think it's closer than that. I think it'd be closer to like 7 or 8. Yeah.
I think you'll drop a few. I think you'll drop a few silly points early in the season, just in games where like Arne Slot might know exactly how he wants to start a game and the lineup he wants, but like when you have to make changes later in the game to adapt to certain Premier League teams, I think you might just drop a few silly points.
I'm gonna be very interested to watch how he handles the big away trips. That's what I'm gonna be, because we had a way of doing that under Klopp, which was counter-attack basically. But everything I've seen under Arne Slot is he wants to be this possession dominant side. So I do wonder if there is going to be a willingness to deviate, or if he's going to be one of the ones who wants to stick by how he plays and build out from the back constantly. Because we did move away from our traditional style of play when we'd go away to Man City versus when we play them at home, or when we go away to Arsenal versus when we played them at home. And from everything I've seen, everything I've heard about Arne Slot, he doesn't do that. So I think that could lead to some interesting results next year. Whether they're good or bad, I have no idea, but it leads to some interesting results. I'm excited though, especially if we do get the Zubimendi deal over the line. You add a defender in. I'm very excited about this season because I do think that a lot of people have understated Liverpool as a whole. A lot of people have said that, we'll be lucky to finish 5th or 6th. Like, we still have the 3rd best squad in the league, but for all intents and purposes. We've got a manager who, is he Jurgen Klopp levels? No. But is he still highly regarded in the world of football? Yeah, especially if you go by what the likes of Mikel Arteta and Erik ten Hag and that have said about him. That they all respect his work and rate him very highly. So when we've not suddenly fell off a cliff, and everything in pre-season has given me a little bit of confidence that we are adapting to the system pretty quickly. It's not a million miles away from Jurgen Klopp, so it's not going to be a case where for the first 3 months of the season we look like fish out of water trying to pass out from the back because we've never done that before. But there does seem to be a deeper understanding of how it works. So I'm quietly confident about this season. I do agree with Griggs. I think Champions League is where we will is where we'll probably have our best account of ourselves, partly because of the history we've got in that competition, but also we do have the makings of a cup team in terms of we've got a solid enough defense and a quick attack, which is normally what you really need.
I think Liverpool will be a moments team this season. They aren't going to be like Chelsea. They're going to be a moments team. A moment when they win the games. JDG's in 2 months to sign one player and Tom wants another. They haven't even signed the first player yet. Zubimendi might not even go to Liverpool. It might not even happen. But listen, I got a shameless plug before we shift to the Liverpool Merino and Arsenal and all that, or maybe the Cup. I'm actually less than 30 subscribers away from 23,000 subs. So if you haven't subscribed, guys, make sure to subscribe now. Get me to 30. We can get to 23,000 live now, and it'll be a fantastic. I really appreciate everyone that is helping me, everyone that subscribed, everyone that liked the video. We actually, I think, passed 500 likes already. But I want to thank everyone that actually supported the channel. So you guys,
we're after a goalkeeper as well. Fabrizio Romano. Giorgio Mamardashvili wants to join
Liverpool.
That's very old news. That's very old news.
No, Fabrizio's just done it now. Mamardashvili wants to join Liverpool.
I know. He wants to join and Liverpool want him. The thing is, he's not going to join and be second. He is going to go on.
No. Yeah. Like I'd be. I think that kind.
It's more like 2 days ago, Tom. That's 2 days ago.
No, but Fabrizio's just confirmed. Like beforehand, it was like
really? On playback. Yeah.
That kind of to me says that Alisson's kind of told us he won't extend beyond 2027. So we need our insurance policy through the door. He had a good Euros.
Thank you, Tom, for interjecting what I'm trying to plug in the 23K. Thank you so much.
I don't get to talk about Liverpool much on this. I haven't had a chance to talk about Liverpool much on these shows for the past 2 months. We've done nothing, so I wanted to jump in real quick.
I promise you, once the season starts, which is 1 week away from that, you will only be talking about the football. I can't wait for the actual football so we can talk about the freaking football because I'm tired of these signings and talk about the signings. We have football tomorrow. We can talk about the football tomorrow. What are we saying about the Charity Shield?
Community Shield. It's not. They can't call themselves a charity.
I was waiting for that.
They can't call themselves a Charity Shield anymore.
Yeah, they're not.
Community Shield. What are we saying?
It's. I don't know the status of United's first teamers. In terms of City, I think we had the most amount of players that went to the Euros, for example. Well, there were some involved in Copa America, but obviously Alvarez has left. So a lot of our players aren't going to be available. None of the English players that went aren't going to be available. Obviously, Rodri's not going to be available.
Why aren't they available?
Because they've not. I think they ended the Euros late, obviously, and they've not got back to a.
They probably only returned this week, didn't they?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Physically, I don't think they're going to be available. I don't.
Is Rodri still injured, Lobbins? Is he okay now, or?
I've seen very little information on that.
I
again,
saw that he was necking Jaeger bombs in Spain the other day on holiday. So I have
Should be
no
alright.
idea if he's going to be available in this game.
No, yeah, but even if he wasn't injured, like from like a rest perspective, he's not. He wouldn't be back with the squad. So City's still going to be able to.
Suspensions, or is that just international?
Oh, that's just like a one
Right.
game international
Right.
thing. Yeah, for saying something like
Is
Gibraltar.
this
or
an
something.
indication for
Uh,
the season, like last season when Arsenal and Man City both were going at it and they ended up being separated by 2 points? Will that game give us an indication of Man United or Man City?
No, the Community Shield is very rarely does the winner of the Community Shield win the league. For example, Pep's only won it twice, I think.
No, but I mean the way they
Um,
play, like domination, the position-based football. Like can Manchester United actually
United won't be doing that against
give
City
us an
now.
indication? Now, give us an
Promise-
indication how they're gonna
I
play.
promise Ten Hag tomorrow is going to play the same way he played in the FA Cup final. That is not the way United are going to play.
Oh, yeah. I'd be amazed if United's more than 40% of
He'll
the
be
ball.
an
That's
idiot
not-
if he does that. He'll be an idiot. What is the point? Like this is not the FA Cup final. Just showcase what you can do.
you can't have more of the ball against City.
He's 10 Hag.
I'm not saying more of the ball, but try to play what you want to play, like Arsenal did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but Arsenal have a better
imagine-
squad and manager than us. We don't have
Imagine,
like we don't have
imagine
their
if
squad.
United go into that game with this idea of playing possession-based football and then leave Wembley having lost 4-0 or 5-0 or something. All of a sudden,
Yeah,
the reaction is really fucking negative.
Yeah,
It will-
that's
it will be a
the
good-
worst way. The worst way they could start the season was trying to play that style of football that they want to play going into the season with a full strength team against a really weak Man City team and get smacked. That's like okay.
Either way, we're not going to be full strength tomorrow because first of all, we don't have a left back. That's the first thing.
Yeah, haven't you
We
got
don't
loads
have-
of injuries?
Where's Luke Shaw?
Injured.
He's not
Where's
injured.
Injured?
He's not injured. 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 He's
He's
not
tired.
100% fit.
He's tired.
He's not.
He's just with Malacia somewhere.
For that whole 90 minutes he played at the Euros, yeah, I'd
Yeah,
be
but
tired too.
he's tired.
He's tired.
He's not
He's
matched
tired.
yet. He's not.
I've
matched
played
yet.
more football than him this year.
He's actually
but you
tired.
play in the Community
That is the
Shield.
point. He's actually tired. Like the word
The
is
thing
he's tired.
The thing is,
I saw
Bro,
a
he
stat
played
yeah, that
90
Luke
minutes.
Shaw has missed
all right,
45% of Manchester United games since
Go
he
ahead,
joined
go ahead,
Southampton.
Griggs. I'm not bantering, Griggs. You
Bro,
need a
okay.
left back, and you know that.
I know. I never said. I said he missed 5 months of football. He rushed himself back for the Euros when he wasn't even 100% fit for that. Southgate loves him too much, so he started him when he wasn't even 100% fit. He's not going to be ready for the season. And why would we risk him in a pointless game and risk further injury to our only left back for the season? There's no point in him playing tomorrow. There's really no point in it. Same way City aren't going to risk Fudgy tomorrow because they don't have a backup for him. He
And
needs as much
he's
rest
not
as
here
he can get.
anyway. He's not available.
And same way
Yeah.
Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw made the final. Did he not make the Euros final? He's not going to play either.
Yeah.
Kobe Mainoo's not going to play tomorrow.
It will be a decent opportunity though, because as I say, it will be like our as I mentioned before, our English and Spanish players won't be available this weekend.
Hold on,
The front three, right? Okay, less of that. The front three will be quite strong. I imagine it would be what Haaland, Bob, and Grealish maybe. So that's a decent front three.
That's so mid, but
where's
fine.
Doku?
That's so
Huh?
okay.
Where's
so
Doku
mid.
and Savio?
Pardon?
Where's like Doku or Savio?
Well, I don't think Savio's only just recently joined City. I don't think he was involved in pre-season. Doku.
I didn't watch any of your games, so I'm just curious. Like,
I think that's why, and that was, as I understand, that was the main front three in pre-season. That's the ones. Obviously, Haaland and Grealish didn't go to the Euros. Obviously, Bob didn't either, so I expect that to be the main front three. Midfield, I don't know. We'll have to see how bold Pep goes with the youth. Well, it's a good opportunity for United to get a win. Because again, it won't be anywhere near a full strength City side. As I say, our best players won't be back until after the game.
Who be United
It sounds
playing
like it's
centre
going
back?
to.
Well, Maguire's not 100%. Lindelof's not 100%. Euro's out for 3 months. Licha just got back, but he's gonna play. So we're looking at Licha and Johnny Evans, who's a center back playing tomorrow.
With no subs.
No, and basically no subs. Only like a youngster. I think Reece Bennett is our only like substitute.
Casemiro, Scott McTominay are gonna play. We know that.
That's already a crime against the sport of football, so that's already terrible.
Can you imagine this midfield?
Dalo just came back from internationals, so he's gonna play because Wan-Bissaka's not 100% fit.
Is
In the
Manu going to play?
I don't think so. I wouldn't play Merino tomorrow personally. There's no point in him playing tomorrow. I think Bruno's gonna be back tomorrow. He's a captain. He's gonna want to lead out the club at Wembley, so he'll play tomorrow. Mount's probably gonna play tomorrow.
Mason, I forgot he existed.
I probably see
yeah,
that.
he exists.
Well,
And actually, Ten Hag spoke about his talent, bro. Ten Hag spoke about his talent and how he's going to use him this season and all this stuff.
Mason Mount on his day is a baller, by the way.
On his
like
day,
he had a
classic.
great. He had a great.
He's been
preseason,
injured a
I'm not
lot,
gonna lie.
hasn't he?
This sounds like it's going to be a horrific game of football.
Yeah.
Oh,
This is going to be an absolutely garbage game.
Even if there wasn't an international tournament, City notoriously starts the season very slowly. As I mentioned before, Pep's only won like 2 community shields. Like we rarely win this game. As I say, normally we start the season poorly. Everyone says City have dropped off, and then we build up momentum. Then we actually play quite well. So yeah, in terms of like a spectacle, it's going to be poor, I'd imagine.
My goal is to leave with no injuries tomorrow. That's my goal for the game.
What's the other community shield City won?
Good question. Maybe it's just the one. We won one against Liverpool.
You won one against us, and we went and won the league that year because that's where the curse thing really kicked on.
Didn't she be Chelsea in the 18-19 community shield?
Maybe. I can't remember.
In the 18-19. Did you win that one?
I don't remember losing to Chelsea. So probably.
That was Sarri's first.
Was that the one on penalties? Did we win that on penalties as well?
No, that's Carabao.
No, that was a League Cup game. I actually can't recall.
I actually think Rory said it best. This is a game.
Oh no, you did. Aguero got a brace, so you've won 2.
Oh, was that the one where Bravo gave him an assist? Maybe.
I assume so.
I don't know. Maybe not.
It was the one where Claudio Gomez came on in the last minute because I remember people getting excited about that or whatever.
Oh yeah, good times. Good times.
But that case is hilarious, by the way. What's it? So City won the Community Shield, then didn't win the league. Then Arsenal won the Community Shield, didn't win the league. Then Leicester won it. Then we won it. Then Arsenal won it. And in that time, the person who's won the Community Shield has not won the league once. But the team that has lost the Community Shield has often went on to go and win the league.
JDG saying City's second squad seems better than United first. I don't know who's United first yet. Like they have a lot of injuries though, to be honest. Listen, for the last part, I wanted to speak about before we end the show, because I actually put Merino on the. I want to ask Rory a question. Who's getting the better deal? So Arsenal or Liverpool? And I know Nobbins have to go.
Who's getting the better deal?
Yes. If you are to choose between the 2 players.
How much is Merino going to cost?
Well, the
50 million euros.
Fabrizio said over 25 million euros most recently.
So about half of what Zubimendi's going to cost then. Give or
yes, but there is a resale value for Zubimendi. There isn't.
25.
And Marino's 27.
I thought it was 29.
29. No,
and he's got Premier
28. I think he just turned 28. I think. Either way,
really?
Yeah, he just turned 28.
He's 28. Yes, he just turned 28. You're right. You're absolutely right.
So, who's got the better value? It's probably pretty similar, to be honest. I think they're both relatively well priced for who they are. I think we were interested in Zubimendi for about 18 months, so I'm not going to pretend that we wouldn't have wanted that signing anyway. But yeah, I think it's just a solid signing. I think it's just a squad depth signing. I think he's a good player. Without him, our midfield looks light going into the season. So, yeah, I just think it's a solid thing.
Do you think he starts for you? You don't think that signing takes you a bit further in terms of the midfield?
Yeah, I could see him starting a fair bit. Yeah, I could see it being Rice, Merino, and Ødegaard. Although, based on pre-season, I wouldn't be surprised if Havertz ends up playing in midfield again with Jesus up top. We did it against Leverkusen in the first half, and it actually looked good. So. Yeah, I think there'll be a fair bit of rotation, and then if we've still got Partey, we'll use him sparingly.
Yeah, guys, Nobbins have to go, so we're just gonna. Nobbins, appreciate you so much. Your channel's in the description. We're staying for 5 minutes. Appreciate you so much, Nobbins, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Nobbins.
Bye. Here we go. Did anybody think Arsenal are favorites to win the league without signing a striker? Anyone think that?
Not without a striker.
You're on mute, Tom.
See, as it stands right now, no.
Why not?
because I think Arsenal need a striker for the tight games where they necessarily couldn't get over the line last year. I think that I'm going off the base that this Mikel Merino bloke's added. By the way, I'm just saying that they don't get this forward, and it's Jesus and Havertz who have to rotate in that spot. I do still think that City's edge is the fact that Erling Haaland probably won't have a season as shit as he did last year, and that guarantees 35 to 40 goals. Especially if you factor in that they've now got direct wingers who can offer something very different, which Haaland didn't necessarily have last year, because it'd be very lopsided. City have improved their attack in a way that Arsenal haven't, and I do think Arsenal need to match that, but they can't match it with the wingers, because I think beyond getting a backup for Saka, their winger situation's fine. It's about the striker. My opinions on Gabriel Jesus have been made clear for the past 2 years. He was the backup striker in a team that didn't have a striker. He's not the guy who a team who wants to win the league can trust, in my opinion, up front. I think whether it's a Gyökeres or the guy who I've been saying that they should go for in a Pender from Leipzig to offer something different, whoever it is, I think they need a striker who they can trust to get 20.
Have you seen Jesus in preseason? Have you seen how he plays?
Jesus does this every year. Jesus is preseason R9. He go ask City fans when they were there. I've just never seen. I've just never seen it with I've had this opinion for years. I've just never seen it. Jesus isn't a guy who could give you 20 goals in a season in the Premier League.
But no one is asking him to do that.
But I think that's why not? He'd be the main guy. He'd be the main striker in Arsenal's attack. I think that the main guy in a title challenge.
If Saka finally can get his 20 goals a season,
right, okay. So
Odegaard hits double digits.
Right, okay.
No, by the way, can I just let me finish the hypothetical, because it's a very plausible situation. Saka's improving by the season. If Saka finally gets his 20 goals, right, a season, right, hits that 20 goal mark. Odegaard, instead of having half a good season, have a whole good season finally, and actually hit the form, right? They got Trossard, who half a season got 11 goals last season. I'm not saying that Trossard can be amazing. And they have Martinelli going back to the season when he had 16 goals. If Gabriel Jesus does the Firmino rule, and also you forget these guys are masters in set pieces, masters.
Okay, right. So that was a lot of ifs, and B, you mentioned Odegaard, whose primary role is a creator, and you mentioned Saka, who I believe is better as a creator. Who are they creating for? They're not. Which position on the team is everything creating for? The striker, who last year was Havertz. If this year it's going to be Jesus, because apparently Havertz has been really good in the 8, and there might be a world where Havertz gets played in the 8 and Jesus up front at points. If we're going by Jesus, the guy that everything is being created for, the same problems that he had when he was the main guy, everything was being created for at City, will happen again. Jesus misses chances.
But okay, we don't really play like that, where we just try and create for the striker. Like, we have a lot of our goals come from box crashes. We don't that's not the issue. Scoring goals in terms of just scoring lots of goals also isn't our issue. Like, we scored more goals last season than the Invincibles scored. We scored, we had our highest. That's not the issue. The one issue we have and where we drop points is the games where we don't create many chances, or we create a few chances and it's either Jesus or Havertz that misses them. And that is the one argument where you could say you need a clinical striker who's going to bury that one chance, because that's where we drop shot, and that's where Haaland will be there for Man City. So that's the argument for getting the striker. I still think it's possible to beat Man City without that striker. But yeah, going back to the original question, I still think Man City are favourites for the title. Until Man City get beaten, until someone actually beats Man City in a title race, they remain title favourites at the start of every season, unless they lose Pep or something.
We'll see. And I think if you get Moreno and he actually comes with the same form that he was at last season at Sociedad, I think you're ready. And I think Man City haven't made enough signings for me. And Rodri's coming already tired, and Rodri needs backup. They don't have backup. And it looks like they're not getting another winger. They're going to promote Oscar Bob, and he's a youngster. I think Arsenal team are more ready. Now, it depends on how Kevin De Bruyne, can he play 35 games, Kevin De Bruyne? can he play that 35 games, or he's going to just play 20 games? I think that it's going to depend on that. But listen, people, I want to appreciate everyone that joined us. Now 30 minutes of a brilliant talk. Breaking news for Chelsea, of course. That was absolutely great. Right, just 5 minutes before the show. We spoke about Zubimendi, Merino, and the cup finals. We hit all the marks that I wanted to hit on the show, even though we spent a lot of time on Chelsea. Rory's channel in the description. He's going live 6:30 UK time, if I'm not mistaken.
Six today. Sorry.
You change it again.
No, it's because we've done 2 Fridays in a row, and I've got to drive back to the homeland tonight, so I've got to do it a bit early.
Okay, so it's Rory at 6. His channel is in the description. We still have over 1,000 people. We can get to 600, 700 likes, and I'm almost at 23K. I'm actually 8 subscribers away from 23K. Dan's channel in the description. Greg's channel in the description as well. Are you going live? Anybody going live today?
Yeah, I'll probably go live later today.
All right.
I don't know what.
Dan, you have to
I'll
talk
be live.
about it.
I'll be live because I've got a
have to
lot
talk
to
about
talk
it.
about. So I'll be live.
You have to talk about it. And Tom is not going to be live, but he's going to be on Husam's channel. I know that. I know that. He's going to be on Husam's channel. But listen, that was absolutely fantastic.
Make a
Appreciate
signing.
everyone
I'll be live. It's all in Michael.
appreciate everyone
hands.
that. It's all in Zubimendi's hand and Real Sociedad. Thank you guys for joining us. Appreciate everyone that is here. This is going to take us to the football terrace, and we'll see you guys soon.